good? Today we are back. Just getting that Saturday to kind of make you feel rejuvenated a little bit. It means the world to us. What's good, everybody? Welcome in to The Early Edge, your sports betting brand of record. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting, and it's not even close. All of the odds on The Early Edge are provided by the king of all sports books, BetMGM. Now, of all people, my man EC saving the day on our college football show. Quickly, our recap from Saturday, 4-2 for our main man. And as you saw last night, absolute banana land with USC. Oregon gets to 4 touchdowns. And it was the almost. It was kind of the EC of days, as we like to say. But we have so much more positivity. 10 games today, 6 early, 4 late. And also, if you guys were paying attention, I'll get to that in a minute. Bring in the stars of the show, because you know them and you love them. And here at noon every single Sunday, if you're new to our brand, we have 3 of the absolute very best. My man, the counselor of cats, Nejad. Our 5-tool player, my man AB, and the best prop bettor in America. He's on our team. We call him PropStarz. Now, gentlemen, first of all, good afternoon. Second of all, there's so much positivity today, and we like to start every show with a little 15 seconds. And Nejad, I'm coming to you, big boy, because if we go back 48 hours, take the story from there.
Yeah, so I only had one pre-flop outright when it came to the Zozo Championship. Just spare me a little bit. We're only going to go to golf for 15 seconds here. But long story short, I'd made one singular live play. It was Colin Morikawa at plus 1,000 on Friday morning, right after the Early Edge morning show. And it was really cool because when I went to bed late last night, I pretty much knew Colin already had it. By the way, when I made that play, he was T8. There was a lot of people in front of him. He won this thing by 6 strokes. It was an absolute runaway. The really cool part wasn't that I won and that I called it. It was that I woke up to so many tickets. A lot of people cashed really big. For whatever reason, it seemed like people bet a little bit bigger on this live bet than others that I put out there. And this one was really cool to see. I still see the tickets coming in on Twitter. A lot of people waking up happy with extra dollars, maybe to bet on this entire Sunday slate, Coach.
Taylor said, Cash Morikawa. Thanks, Sia. Now, I tell you this all the time. It's like I'm a broken record, but come on. Follow my guys on social media. Turn on the notifications. We're not going to hit every single one. But when we do, it matters, and you got to know where our guys are at and how they're moving. Great 15 seconds. Now, I'm not going to stop there. And Proppy, I apologize. You got to wait for this. But I want to add a little something to the show today. And I believe, AB, 2 days ago, it was check. It was just all checks for you in baseball. Perhaps, I know I'm just throwing a long shot here. Would you have any baseball plays before we get to football this morning?
Coach, let's start the show off with a smart bet right there. Now, Sia brought up the Zozo Championship yesterday. I went 2-4 in college football. I was in the Bozo Championship. God, that joke was terrible. That's awful. I'm so sorry for that one. However, we do have baseball today, and let's get to it very quickly because the Astros and the Rangers, game 6 tonight. Astros up 3-2. They can clinch. We're going to go Jose Altuve, 1+ hit, and the Astros team total over 3.5 plus 105. Jose Abreu, 1+ hit, and Astros team total over 2.5 minus 125. And our man Jordan Alvarez, 1+ hit, the Astros team total over 2.5 at minus 120. Because, Coach, somebody's clinching to go to the World Series. I mean, the Early Edge has to be in on it, right?
You're damn right we do, with graphics and everything. Hashtag next level. AB, thank you. Sia, thank you. But there's a reason people come to this show, and it's the National Football League. The NFL, Week 7. So, Proppy, I'm coming to you because I made you sit there a long time, and I apologize for that because I know you are revved up. Nobody gets more excited than my man Proppy on a Sunday afternoon. So, game number 1, very interesting. Raiders on the road. They've won 3 in a row, taking on the Chicago Bears, who I don't know if you guys saw the video this morning of this guy a year ago at this time. Division II quarterback. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. And he threw 2 interceptions a year ago at this time in D2. And now he's starting for the Chicago Bears today because Justin Fields is out. So, Proppy, how are we handicapping this game when you have a Raiders team that is favored on the road and they've got a little bit of a winning streak going?
Yeah, we've got 2 backup quarterbacks playing in this. I believe the Raiders are starting Brian Hoyer, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So, Yeah, very interesting game as far as props are concerned. I do think there's some opportunities here, or some opportunities, as we like to say, Coach. We had a glimpse of what the Bears offense looked like without Justin Fields. We saw DJ Moore heavily peppered with targets. I believe he accounted for nearly 50% of Tyson Bagent's throws. So, yeah, I expect that to be the case. I expect to see a lot of Deontay Foreman as well. Obviously, when we have an inexperienced quarterback, I expect the Bears to lean heavily on their rushing attack. As far as the Raiders are concerned, we also have a little bit of an idea of what it looks like with Brian Hoyer at the helm as well. He played some last week. Again, heavily concentrated dose of Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers. Devontae Adams is very interesting to me, coming off of 2 subpar performances. Heard a lot of talk about him potentially being traded. I believe the Raiders put out a report yesterday emphatically stating they will not be moving Devontae Adams. So he's someone I'm looking at that has some serious squeaky wheel narrative. And we also had a glimpse of Brian Hoyer, who was heavily peppering him with targets. And this Bears pass defense is definitely not a defense to fear. So I like Devontae Adams actually quite a bit in this matchup.
And I'm so glad you said that, because EC from our prop shows on Josh Jacobs over 20.5 receiving yards minus 115. So, Counselor, as I come to you, what prop he just said when it comes to the lack of defense with Chicago, are we leaning into that with the Raiders today?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, this is one of those games, I got to admit, it's more of a stay away for me just because there's such an unknown with both of these quarterbacks. But I will say this, I do like the Josh Jacobs props. I mean, I'll be honest, when Friday came around in the prop show, I don't know at that time if Aiden O'Connell or Brian Hoyer was declared to be the starter. I like Josh Jacobs receiving yards even more if it were Aiden O'Connell, but I still like it here at 20.5. I like that play from EC, and I just like, from a rushing attempt standpoint, I'd be looking at Josh Jacobs overs, things of that nature. But as far as the game, picking sides, offense, I think the Raiders are going to win this game, most likely. I think Max Crosby is really going to wreak havoc like he does every single game. The guy just doesn't get enough respect because of where he plays. He's one of the best DNs in the league by far. So I'm not leaning into anything really hard in this one.
Full transparency, I already played the Raiders on the money line. I got it in mind around minus 141, I believe is the number I got. I'm willing to bet against a D2 quarterback. I just am. Yeah. That's just how I feel. Now, it might be a stay away for the other two guys, AB, but sometimes when you have 2 backup quarterbacks, that could lead to something, and you have an official best bet in this game.
Yeah, we do, Coach. I'll tell you what, I'll leave us all on the screen here because I want to show you. I just got a package here, all right, from Amazon, and I just wanted to let you know that this is what both teams are going to be doing all damn day, is just giving presents to each other. We're going to take both over 2.5 turnovers, minus 135. Why would you not? They're going to try to run the football, but both teams know you backup quarterback, you take away the run, and you give the pass and say, hey, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to throw it 35 times a day. I don't trust Hoyer. I don't trust anybody in this game. You look at the head coaches here. I don't trust them either. Look, Coach, I trust you more than anyone in this game. So, yeah, turnovers.
Respect. A couple of chat questions quickly. Proppy, you have plays on both Josh Palmer and Rashee Rice, but which would you start in fantasy today? 15 seconds. You're on mute there, big boy. Oh,
sorry about that, guys. Rare muting for me. But, yeah, Palmer has, I think, a little bit of a safer floor. I think Rashee Rice has more upside. So if you're thinking that you're going to be trailing in the matchup, I'd probably start Rice. If you're looking for just like a guaranteed 8 to 12 points, I'd start Josh Palmer.
Okay, very good. Counsel, let me come to you. I need fantasy help. I've got 2 ABS. I don't know that much. Gotcha. Would you start Jalen Warren or Jeff Wilson? I understand what he's asking now.
Yeah, I think the Jeff Wilson part of that is quite the unknown in terms of like he's going to be active. I don't know exactly how much work he's going to get. I think we can kind of guarantee Jalen Warren's going to get 40 to 50% of the touches there. So I would lean on Jalen Warren. I don't like either really. Wilson maybe with a little bit more upside, but I'd lean on Jalen Warren there.
All right. Proppy, please don't drink. You're making me thirsty on camera. I've got a cold. All right, let's go to game number 2. Browns and the Colts. Now we got word this morning, courtesy when I woke up, Adam Schefter on ESPN, that Deshaun Watson will be a go today. So that number is now moved. If you didn't get it below 3, that number's gone. It's 3.5 now at Indianapolis because now they face, Counselor, a road ahead without their dynamic rookie quarterback, Anthony Richardson. So they're at home, but they're the underdog, total sitting at 40.5. But you have a best bet that you put up on SportsLine when the number was 3, correct?
Yeah, it was 3 at a lot of places, 3.5 when I got it in at other places. So hopefully you got the 3. I don't mind it at 3.5 because I think this is such a tough spot for Gardner Minshew. Listen, Coach, you've said this before. In fact, I think you said it last week. When you have a chance to scheme for Gardner Minshew, it is a completely different ballgame versus Gardner Minshew coming into a game and then you have to sort of change up your game plan mid-flight. So I really like this Browns defense. I think that's kind of an obvious point. But now that you have Deshaun Watson back, and he did get a couple practices in late in the week, even if he's not 100%, and by the way, there was intimation that he was actually going to be like with no restrictions. Let's see if that's actually true. But Deshaun Watson has enough targets on the outside, and Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt is active. There's just too much here for a Colts offense that I don't think is going to push the ball against this unbelievable Browns defense. I think it's a really bad spot. If Anthony Richardson was in this game, I'd still like the Browns to win it. But this could be a situation where Gardner Minshew has another bad game. Don't forget, last week he had a bad game. He put up some yards, but he had a bad game. Now he faces an even tougher defense. Even though it's at home, it's not going to be a good look for Gardner. Give me the Browns -3 or -3.5 if that's where you get it.
I am so glad that you said, did you have your hand up, Alex?
I did. I just wanted to illustrate how good the Browns have been against opposing quarterbacks. They have allowed one quarterback to eclipse 200 passing yards this season. So I agree with Sia. It's a great spot, in my opinion, to fade the Colts and especially Gardner Minshew.
All right. Very good. Now, he also, in addition to that, said that Minshew had a horrible game last week. And you're feeling something today, AB. We have a little theme going with your best bets, at least through 2 games. What do you got?
Yeah, Coach, look, I got a package from Amazon. No, I'm kidding. Look, you can really just take last game's breakdown and just apply it here. Deshaun Watson did look horrible last week, and I don't trust Minshew as well, even though I like the kid, dude. Gardner Minshew, like, if it was just real life, we'd be boys. I love everything about him. Dude fights. He plays hard. He's a good team guy. But welcome to the league, dog. Like, it's not going to work out. I don't trust it at all. So, yeah, go ahead and just put this up again.
Boom.
Over 2.5 turnovers, -130. Play it. Do it.
I almost want to call this the Buckets bet because every time this bet comes up, I remember when he actually challenged you to a showdown on this turnover bet. And he lost, of course.
He lost immediately. But
yes.
I'll give him he lost quickly, but I'll give him credit. He hit that D car, no-fly zone. I was proud of the kid.
He hit the D car, and then last night, he hit a first-round knockout in UFC against Danny Brasco. What was that, 3 minutes in, last night? I think 3 minutes in. Oh, and he was relentless on social media. Oh, relentless. Whew. Danny's going to come back with something. I guarantee it. Real quick, before we get away from this game, because I know you briefly touched on the quarterback situation, but do you have anything from a prop perspective, proppy on the Browns-Colts?
Yeah, interesting matchup here. I see you mentioned this Browns defense. They have been absolutely phenomenal. They've played as well as any defense in the NFL this season. As far as the Colts are concerned, I think we're going to see a concentrated dose, finally, of Jonathan Taylor. The one area the Browns are a little bit vulnerable is their run defense. They also have a relentless pass rush. The way you kind of mitigate that is by running the football. So I do think we're going to see a lot of Jonathan Taylor, whose touches have been ramping up. They obviously gave him that big contract. Zach Moss is still going to be involved. I think this is a spot where Jonathan Taylor could have some success. I expect him to have 12 to 15 touches in this game as long as it's a neutral or positive game environment. So he's a guy I have my eye on.
Awesome. Real quick, AB, can you take Alex down? Alex, can you clean your camera while we go to Sia here real quick? Sia, what do you got?
Yeah, so we had a question from one Brave Niner earlier, and it pertains to this game a little bit. So I just want to answer it real quick. Sometimes you're going to get sort of some DFS advice from me in this game. I think Jerome Ford at 5,100 is a really good play. I mentioned him on the FFT DFS show with Mike on Friday, but I'll tell you what, at 5,100, I do think he's some pretty good value. A really nice situation. Kareem Hunt is active, but one Brave Niner also asked me if any of my picks have sort of changed. Nothing's really changed too much, but I want to point out some other low price options that I really like really quick. Drake, Watson, Marquise Brown, Josh Palmer, really like them at their price. I like Jerome Ford. Like I said, I'm playing a lot of Pacheco, Ken Walker, and at tight end, Musgrave, Meyer, and McBride are very interesting, very big time pay down options. That's it on DFS. Sorry.
That's okay, because my fantasy gets back going today. I'm at the bottom of the league right now with all you clowns. Are you too?
Yeah. I've had some pretty bad injuries, so that's my excuse at least.
I couldn't figure out who's on top. I'm having trouble reading. I can't figure it out.
Shut it.
Oh, that's right.
We know where you're at. We know where you're at. He's such a savage on Twitter, too. He'll just like quote tweet himself. That's when you know you're arrogant, when you quote tweet yourself. All right, game number 3. We're going to New England. And whoever would have thought that it would end this way, that the Bill Belichick era, and if it's not over after the season, it should be over after this season. But right now, the Bills, who the last 2 weeks, guys, have only managed to score 34 combined points. The 3 games previous, they didn't score less than that by themselves. They're struggling right now, but they're laying 7.5 on the road. From the prop show, Uncle Dave is on Juju Smith-Schuster, longest reception under 13.5. Ramondre Stevenson over 60.5 rushing and receiving yards. And Proppy, let me come to you first because you have a best bet that you gave out on the prop show on Friday. Where's it at now, and do you still like it?
Yeah, I do want to first point out that Juju actually was ruled inactive. He was in the concussion protocol when Dave gave out that pick. So if you did happen to make that pick, it'll just be a voided pick, and you'll receive your money back on that. But yeah, I have a best bet on James Cook over 70.5 combined rushing and receiving yards. I love James Cook. I watch James Cook. He just passes the eye test to me. He just is a very explosive back. The underlying metrics are very favorable in his favor as well. Coming off of a season high 52% snap share last week. He's the running back, 3 in success rate, 13 in yards per route run. He has a versatile 3-down skill set, no Damian Harris. So it's going to be James Cook and Latavius Murray sharing those backfield touches today. So I think we're going to see a concentrated dose of James Cook. He's got momentum. I expect him to easily eclipse this number. Love the fact that he contributes in all 3 downs as well, and he's especially utilized between the 20s. Owning him in fantasy is very frustrating because he doesn't really get a lot of those red zone touches. Yeah, this guy picks up a ton of chunk plays between the 20s. Love him to go over 70.5 combined rushing and receiving yards.
Jared says, I'm on the same page with Proppy right here. And I wonder if y'all are going to be on the same page with my man, AB. Dare we go 3 for 3?
Coach, look, you have no idea how much you have done for my career already. And I mean that. There's no joke behind that at all. And what you've taught me is be good, be entertaining, provide value. So I'm going to provide value real quick, and I'm going to give you time because do we really even have to explain it? Look, the Patriots turn the ball over 7 times a game, and the Bills turn it over 5 times a game. All right. The Patriots defense is good enough to put the clamps on Josh Allen, especially since he's not running the football as much because we saw last week he went into the blue tent there. So they have to be careful with him, i.e. why you see PropStarz looking at running back props, right? And on the other side, Mac Jones is like basically about to be benched for good. Like, I don't know what's going on with that. Bailey Zappi, Western Kentucky, shout out Bowling Green, fun city up there. But, dude, just play it.
There you go. By the way, Michael, I haven't said that in a while. My heart is full right now. First of all, thank you for the compliment. Proppy, see you dead to me. Michael says, there's that fat smile we know and love. So I haven't said that in a while. I
missed it.
Yeah. All right, we'll bring that back. See, let me come over to you, big boy, because normally when the Bills have a bad game or two, we say this is going to be the game. Stephon Diggs is going to break out. Josh Allen is going to do what he does. But that hasn't been the case so far this year, especially the last couple of weeks. What do you think about today?
Yeah, definitely there's something wrong with this offense, but I mean, they do get a nice little matchup here. Don't forget the Patriots, not only are they bad on both sides of the ball, but they're really injury riddled, especially on the defensive side of the ball, especially at key players, some of their best players. So I think this could be a nice game for Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. The one cautionary thing I would say about Josh Allen is don't forget, late in the game last week, he did injure his shoulder. He landed on his shoulder. You saw him immediately after the play just kind of shake his arm out. And then when it was addressed earlier this week, he mentioned it was a pain management issue. That doesn't sound super great. So, I mean, I just want to point that out in the sense that he's going to play. He'll be a full go. But maybe if they grab a lead here, they get super conservative. Maybe they protect Josh Allen a little bit, which they haven't done a great job of doing so far. So it's just something to think about when you see a 7.5-point spread. Maybe that's something to consider. And I don't know if you've given Dave Richards' pick out yet, but I do like all things Ramondre Stevenson personally.
Yeah, 60.5 rushing and receiving yards is the play from the prop show. By the way, PT says, Coach, I just smashed the like button, levels to the live chat game. You're damn right, PT. Now, everybody else do it. Take the chat down, hit that like button, put it right back up, and keep on talking amongst yourselves because we absolutely love it. Game number 5 at 1 o'clock Eastern this afternoon. And if the Washington Commanders want any shot at a playoff run this year at 3-3, today's the day. You got to get above 500. Now, the Giants, they wish they could see 500 right now. They're 1-5. No Daniel Jones. The neck is still not good enough to play. Proppy, you're the only one in the crew that has a best bet on this one. What do you got?
Yeah, Coach, I've got a prop that I absolutely love. I've given this out quite a few times last season. This will be the first time this season. Saquon Barkley's longest rush, over 14.5 yards. I am shocked this number isn't 15 or 16.5. He's eclipsed this in 8 consecutive games dating back to last season, including the playoffs. He returned from that high ankle sprain last week, just received a huge workload, 29 touches, I believe, 82% of the team's snaps. So he is thrust right back into that full-time role, playing a Commanders run defense, 22nd in EPA per rush, 18th in run defensive grade. Saquon Barkley's always had a boomer bust run style. He tries to actively rip off big plays. He'll get tackled a lot at the line of scrimmage, but he is looking to get on the outside, take advantage of his speed. He's 5th in breakaway yards this season, which is in line with him pretty much every year, always in the top 10 in explosive run rate as well. So I love Barkley's chances to get 15 to 20 carries in what should be a positive or neutral game script, and he's just a great shot to go over 15 yards for a longest rush.
I kid you not, Proppy, because I know how much you love to be armed with this kind of information. But as you were giving out your take at that moment, do you know what just came through on my phone?
What's that, Coach?
A little email. And it was a response to our thread that we do for every single show. And it was Coach Phil throwing in his gym pick for tonight. Clearly, his game plan is to wait for the 4 of us to be busy. And then he wants to slide Devontae Smith under our nose. Oh, Coach Phil, I know you're watching right now. We see what you're doing. I actually kind of respect it a little bit. Now, let me come over to you, Counselor, because Counselor's got that look on his face like he's getting ready to slam Phil on something. But as far as this game is concerned, it's one of those ugly games, but it could be fun. How?
Well, first of all, I respect Phil's drive here to try to get the first touchdown. If you noticed, I've been waiting to respond to the emails, trying to get guys like Phil kind of involved here, EC kind of involved here. It's totally okay. I'm fine sitting on 3 first touchdowns. Listen, I don't really love plays here. Like, first of all, I do like all things Saquon Barkley. I think he's sneaky. I think Wan'Dale Robinson receptions or over yards are not sneaky. I mean, I've been doing that the last couple of weeks. I think that's in play here too. The Giants offensive line is so battered. They don't have guys left. And I do think it's potentially a good spot for the Washington defense. If I was going to look at anything here, it would be the Commanders -3. It feels a little chalk. It feels like the obvious play, which is why I didn't make it an official pick. But this one's a tough one. With Tyrod starting, with Sam Howell, you don't know what you're going to get from him. I do think the Giants pass rush can be formidable, especially against Sam Howell, who takes more sacks than anybody in the league. So this one's largely a stay away for me. But I do think Barkley's sneaky, not just in the betting market, but in the DFS market as well, because he's 8,100. And because he's that expensive and on the Giants with no offensive line, not many people are going to play him.
It is a stay away for me as well. But, AB, as we know, all of us like to play every single game. Give me an angle that you see that's a positive for somebody to play this game.
Oh, God, I'll tell you this. Look, I tried to play turnovers. It was way too expensive. It was like -200. I tried to play punts. It was way too expensive, right? Look, Sia nailed it right there. Both defensive lines are going to get home. And remember, last week we broke down Tyrod Taylor exactly of what his game will be. They will roll him out, all right? They will cut down half the field, and he is going to have short passes all day long. He didn't play that bad, to be completely honest with you, right? That's what they're going to do, and they are going to use that. They're going to use Saquon Barkley on second downs. You watch this sequence. First down, 4-yard pass. Second down, run Saquon. Third down, 3rd and 1. That's what they're trying to do, and they have to do it so many times down the field. Washington, it's going to be the exact same thing, man. Wink Martindale is going to come after Sam Howell. So you're going to see a ton of punts. If you could get the punt number right, play it. There will be a ton of them, and you will see a lot of third down and longs from both teams. They'll try to run the ball on second down, screens and draws to stay away from that. Watch it.
All right. Sean says, you guys give a lot of info so quick. LOL. Sean, that's why I say grab your paper and grab your pen or pencil. That's what we're all about, big boy. You can't remember all of it. Do some work. Let's go. Appreciate that you're here. Now, as all of you were talking, did you guys feel that? Did you feel that presence? Guess who's in the chat, boys? Guess who is in the chat? The man who is touting himself about how good of a UFC handicapper he is. Buckets is in the chat. There's still several more soccer games today, but apparently he wants to show you his NFL knowledge. Any questions for Buckets? Do it at your own risk, but put him in there. He will answer them in real time. All right, game number 5, and I need to keep this moving along. Falcons and the Bucs. Now, this is a battle for first place. First place in the NFC South. We have 2 official plays. EC is on Kyle Pitts, over 32.5 receiving yards. Uncle Dave is on Rachaad White, under 71.5 rushing and receiving yards, the combo line. So how about we start with you, Counselor? The Falcons have been The Bucs have been They only managed 6 at home last week. You can't throw away or home games away like that. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I was really close to taking the Bucs here, -2.5, and I still like it as a play. Again, I didn't make it an official play. I apologize about that, but I don't exactly know what the Falcons are doing. There's a couple things going here. Arthur Smith in really high leverage spots, in really important spots, he's really deferring to Tyler Algier as much as Bijan Robinson, which is extremely confusing to me. It honestly makes no sense. I don't think you can really justify that big plays in the fourth quarter going to Tyler Algier. So the other part of that is Desmond Ridder. Like, sometimes he pushes the ball downfield and he looks good, but I think he's catching Tampa in a really tough spot. I think the Buccaneers, coming off that loss and the bye before that, I think they've looked formidable, particularly on defense. I think this is a team that is just flat out better than the Falcons. I came into the season liking the Falcons, but part of it was because they were in the NFC South, a pretty soft schedule. You could say the same for Tampa, but I feel like Tampa's flashed a little bit more. They can offer a little bit more offensively. Baker's fine. The defense is good. I'm leaning pretty hard towards the Bucs -2.5 here.
I agree with you. I may even lay the extra juice and play them on the money line. I haven't even looked, probably around -140, -150. But that's where I'm leaning too. Do you like the Bucs today, probably?
I don't particularly like the Bucs. I don't particularly dislike the Bucs either. I'm more focused on props in this game. I actually like Bijan Robinson. I think we're getting a hefty discount on his rushing line. I don't think this Bucs run defense. I think they're a bit of a paper tiger. I think their stats are a little bit inflated due to a somewhat soft or favorable schedule against opposing running backs. So I definitely think this is a matchup where we might see a larger dose of Bijan Robinson. Getting him at 55 yards to me is a tremendous value, considering that he has this pretty solid floor of like 13 to 14 rushing attempts. So I like him. I was very encouraged by Drake London last week. Over the last few weeks, actually, his target share has risen. He seems to be the Desmond Ridder's #1 target. The Bucs also funnel a lot of production to opposing #1 wide receivers. So yeah, those are 2 players I like as far as Falcons offensive players are concerned. I also love Dave's pick. I also gave that the same pick. On Rachaad White, fading him, his combination line on the site. I think that's a really good look. He is super, super inefficient running back, probably the least efficient starting running back in the NFL. And he's also ceding touches to Keyshawn Vaughn as well in the backfield. So I think he is a good spot to fade him.
All right. A lot of good information there. AB, wrap this game up for us, sir.
Yeah, you look at both teams here. All right. Tampa Bay, they've gone 1-2 since starting the season, 2-0. The Falcons, they've gone 1-3 since starting the season, 2-0. It's just not good. Like, there's nothing that I like about this game, so we can move on. I'm going to give you no good information. I don't trust this one at all.
Suddenly there, I just heard EC's voice. I don't know.
Yeah, parlay everything. No.
Yeah, parlay it all. Parlay it all. By the way, new BetMGM customers, you can sign up today. We'd appreciate that. And get $200 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10, and you will receive $200 instantly in bonus bets, regardless of your wager's outcome, with bonus code EDGE200. And I've told you quite a few times, and with the NBA season starting on Tuesday, we're actively working with BetMGM. We want specific bets just for our show. We're working on that, And with the NBA starting, just a little tease, All right, now, one more game at 1, and I'm going to speed this up. We still have 5 games to get to, and we just passed the bottom of the hour. So we have less than 30 minutes, so we got to get it moving. Lions and the Ravens, potentially, outside of Sunday Night Football, the game of the day. A battle of 2 first-place teams. The Lions tied for the best record in all of football. They've already beaten the Chiefs. They held the Bucs to 6 points in Tampa last week. They're going on the road again to Baltimore. The Ravens favored by 3, the total at 43. Poppy, I want to start with you because you have a best bet in this game, and it's a big-time tight end. Start us off.
Yeah, I love Mark Andrews in this spot, over 53.5 receiving yards. This Detroit defense is a pass funnel. Their run defense is elite. They are vulnerable in the back end, especially covering tight ends. Mark Andrews, his target profile looks great. He's yet to have a true breakout game, yet to eclipse 80 yards in a game this season, something he did 5 times last year, 7 times the year prior. I think this is an excellent matchup for him. I think he's going to be heavily utilized against this Detroit defense that just, again, surrenders a ton of production to opposing tight ends.
Love it. Now, Uncle Dave is on Zay Flowers, over 4.5 catches. EC is on Gus Edwards, under 46.5 rushing yards, minus 115. Counselor, as I come to you, this is kind of a rubber meets the road type of game for both teams to really see how good they are. Your thoughts?
I mean, you literally could not have put it better. That's why you're the best host in the country, because both of these teams have, I feel like, still something to prove. And whoever wins this game, I think you really have to take seriously. The problem I have with the Ravens, there's 2 problems I have with the Ravens. One is their red zone efficiency has been laughably bad, which I think is really mysterious given Lamar Jackson's ability to run and pass the ball and his plethora of receivers that he has, which of course includes Mark Andrews. The other problem is their schedule. They haven't played any good quarterbacks, like pretty much any good quarterbacks. Now Jared Goff comes in, and not only does he have a good defense behind him, but he's got all of his weapons healthy outside of David Montgomery and, swoop in Jahmyr Gibbs and maybe some Craig Reynolds. That should be just fine. But you got Laporta, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams is back. There's plenty of guys, Josh Reynolds. I actually lean in the beginning of the week. I really like the Ravens, and Coach, I know you like the Ravens as well. You still do. I'm kind of leaning towards the Lions, and it's mostly because the Ravens really haven't faced an offense like this, and Goff splits away from home. All of a sudden, they're pretty good, whereas last year and the year before that, he was only good at Detroit. This one, I haven't made a play on, but if I was going to, it'd probably be the Lions +3, believe it or not.
Counselor, I absolutely agree with you. And in my segment with Will Brinson from Cover 3, I picked the Lions.
My bad.
No, I don't know why
I thought you were on the Ravens. Good call.
Yeah. I've been on the Ravens all year until today.
Coach, real quick, shout out to Will Brinson. He loves to bring up the fact, Coach, that you always call it Cover 3, but it's pick 6.
Don't you know that I'm a savage?
I know. He every time he brings you up, Coach, he always brings up the Cover 3. He thinks it's
exactly why I do it. I'm next level, boys. I am next level. AB, go.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't have any plays on this game whatsoever, but I'll give you 2 nuggets here. The Lions, they have beaten opponents by 14 points or more in 4 straight games. This team is scoring points. They are whipping people. I know, nobody's really paid attention to it. They have been just hammering people. And number 2, you talked about the Ravens offense. Lamar Jackson is lethally completing passes 70% this year in 5 of their 6 games. He is completing. So if you're looking at, props in regards to a quarterback, Lamar Jackson, completions, this dude is on fire with it for sure. And Mark Andrews, obviously a big part of that. So
to your point, real quickly, as we look at SportsLine, there are, 10 picks. Goff. I probably shouldn't give that out, should I? If you're a SportsLine member, you could get exactly, we're going to go under Lamar Jackson. I can't give that one out either. But if you want to become a SportsLine member, I'll do you a solid right here, right now. I'll give you 60% off a quarterly account. Use the promo code COACH. QR code's right there, sportsline.com/join. Then you can get all these great picks and all the analysis at SportsLine. And then after that, we're really going to gouge you. Did you go to Starbucks this morning? You just spent more today than you'd spend on a SportsLine account. Boom. Facts. Be part of the party. The water's warm. Now, that is the last of the early games. Am I right? So we like to chop it up just a little bit. Here's the early slate and our best bets from the early slate of games. Take a screenshot, soak it in, get them in before the top of the hour, because all of these picks in exactly 24 minutes, they'll be gone. Will not be here. So let's quickly move on to the late slate that I'm extremely excited about today. Let's start 50 miles from where I'm sitting right now. The Rams welcomed Cooper Kupp back, and now they've got essentially 2 Cooper Kupps, because I love his name, and I always butcher it, but I love this dude. He is a rookie playing like a veteran. So EC is on Cooper Kupp over 90.5 receiving yards. That's a high number, but this is Cooper Kupp. So, Castle, let's start with you. The Rams favored by 3. They also, at 500, need to figure out if this is the week they get going.
Yeah, and it just might be. I mean, Steelers coming off a bye, that does alarm me just a little bit. I'm surprised this line is as low as 3. I know the Rams aren't a great team necessarily, but I have a hard time thinking that the Steelers are going to stop this offense consistently. I like Cooper Kupp. I also like Puka Nacua. The problem with the Rams, you don't know exactly what you're getting in the backfield. I think early in the week we thought it was Zach Evans. It looks like it's probably going to be a little bit more Darrell Henderson, a little bit of Royce Freeman, and then maybe not very much of Zach Evans. But I like all things Rams here. Stafford, Kupp, Nacua. On the other side of the ball, don't like much. My lean certainly is to the Rams -3 here.
Proppy, let's come over to you, because there's a lot of mouths to feed, as you like to say. How do we break it down?
Yeah, I'm with you here. I love the Rams in this spot, both as a 3-point favorite, and I like a lot of the props as well. I think this is a great spot for Stafford to carve up this Pittsburgh pass defense that hasn't been particularly good. So, yeah, I think they'll be able to move the ball effectively against Pittsburgh. I think we'll see a lot of Matthew Stafford and obviously Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. As far as Pittsburgh's offense is concerned, tough to watch. Kenny Pickett, again, the guy is just not very good, in my opinion. He is facing somewhat of a soft Rams defense, so I could see him being somewhat effective today. Deontay Johnson back in the lineup should be a big boost. Slightly takes away from George Pickens' breakout, but yeah, as far as Pittsburgh's offense is concerned, not a lot to like, in my opinion. Jalen Warren interests me a little bit, but he's still ceding a lot of touches, obviously, to Najee Harris. Yeah, not that much for Pittsburgh that interests me here.
Me neither. This feels like one of those spots, AB, where you look up at about 6:45 Eastern and it's 24-6. You're like, I got to know how we got here.
Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you this, Coach. Look, here are 2 nuggets to explain exactly what props and you were just saying about the Steelers offense. They're the only team in the NFL this season that has a winning record and a negative point differential. They have been outscored by 31 points this season. 31, and they have a winning record. And number 2, anybody out there looking for props on this game, if you like to play little kind of exotic props like I do, 50% of the Steelers' offensive drives all season have ended in a punt. Nobody's even close.
I do not even care what my ticket says at the pay window. If you want to give me punts, damn it, give me punts. And by the way, apparently we have a working class chat, because we don't have those foo-foo like my daughter and other women in my life that go to Starbucks. We've got a Dunkin' Donuts crowd, apparently. So I need to say a coffee and a donut instead of at Starbucks. Hey, we can do that. Dunkin', call me. We got you. We got you. Now, game number 2 at 4 o'clock today, 4:05 to be exact. Battle in the AFC West. Everybody's looking up, gentlemen, at the San Francisco 49ers. The Seahawks, a big favorite here. 9.5 the total of 44.5. Sia, let me come to you, because you have a best bet in this game.
Yeah, it's Marquise Brown over 54.5 receiving yards. I mean, I don't know what's not to like about this. First of all, this line keeps creeping up in favor of Seattle. So now it's at 9.5, whereas a couple of days ago, I believe it was at 7.5. What does that mean? It means a negative game script for Joshua Dobbs and Marquise Brown. Now, here's the thing. Joshua Dobbs and Marquise Brown, they've been very inefficient. Dobbs just hasn't really been on target with Marquise Brown. Good news, usually you see regression when it comes to that, because Marquise Brown is getting open. The Seattle secondary has been, listen, they have talent, but they have been susceptible to receivers and to explosive plays. I wouldn't be shocked if Marquise Brown actually got this on 1 play or 2 plays, but the reality is he doesn't need to, because he gets so much volume. His target share is near 30%. He gets a ton of targets per game, albeit inefficient targets. and his air yard share is unbelievable. So he's like checking every single box here. I honestly think this should be like 63.5, but it's not. I'll take it, especially in a negative game script. Give me Marquise Brown. For the record, and I'll tease this later. I did something really silly, like an EC play. I laddered Marquise Brown 80 plus with another player that we're going to talk about in a few minutes as a parlay because it was fun. It paid like something like 16-1. It was ridiculous. Stay tuned.
I am shocked to see you.
I know. I'm disappointed in myself.
It's okay. We'll get through it together. Together. Now, everybody in the chat this morning are talking about one man. He's got 2 initials at the front. His last name ends with Calf. Now, Proppy, do you like DK Metcalf today?
I don't mind DK Metcalf. It's a great matchup if he does in fact suit up. It does look to be like he's going to. I'm not sure if we've heard word. I know that they were going to test him out during pregame warmups to determine his availability. I did read a report saying that there's a good chance he won't suit up for this game. Who I do like in this matchup quite a bit is Kenneth Walker. I think it's going to be the Kenneth Walker show for Seattle. No Zachary Charbonnet in the backfield. So just be heavy usage for Kenneth Walker and what is a fantastic matchup. I also just love the Seahawks. If you are a SportsLine subscriber, you would have seen that I put them out at 7.5 earlier in the week. I wouldn't stay away, unfortunately, at 9.5. But yeah, I think this is a great spot for Seattle against this Arizona team that's just really cratered without James Conner. They don't look like the same football team whatsoever. They played well above expectations for the majority, the first 4 to 5 weeks of the season. To me, they're regressing to the mean here. And I just think Seattle is a massive mismatch. They're just a lot more talented, getting a pissed off Seattle team coming off a loss as well at home. I think this is a spot where Seattle rolls by double digits.
All right, the Kenneth Walker number currently 80.5 minus 140. So a little juicy, but that's the number if you like Kenneth Walker like Proppy does. AB, let me come to you on this game. Seahawks, the number, as Proppy said, is getting to the point that it's almost unplayable unless you look at how Arizona has finished the last 2 weeks, and maybe it's not so high.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. No official plays for me, but you can keep a secret. I'll give you 2 of them. All right. Number 1, the Cardinals have lost 3 straight games by 14 points or more. Number 2, if you're looking to bet halves or you're a live bettor, the Cardinals have been outscored in the fourth quarter of games this year, 64-7. 64-7 in the fourth quarter of games this year. They start good, and then it falls apart every single time, every week. So there you go. And couple that with a team like Seattle to where even if they're up trying to run the clock out, that's what they do best. It is going to be hell on earth in the second half. Yeah, man. Bad second half for Arizona.
So many Chick-fil-A nuggets on a Sunday. I can't even believe it. All right, gentlemen, this next game, we're gonna get our bets in and get out because we've only got about 9 minutes, and I want to spend some time on the last game. So this one, Packers Broncos. Packers favored by 1. Uncle Dave is on Romeo Doubs over 3.5 catches from the prop show on Friday. Then Proppy coming to you. You like a Packers wide receiver today. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I do. I love Christian Watson over 52.5 receiving yards. Been very encouraged what I've seen from Christian Watson since returning from that hamstring injury. Prior to the bye week, which the Packers had in week 6, had 83% route participation. Now having had the bye week, I expect that number to be up over 90% in a full-time role in this Packers offense. Playing against the Broncos pass defense, 32nd in EPA allowed per dropback, 32nd in coverage grade. Talk about it. They are historically bad, especially in the back end. They're especially vulnerable to speed as well, vertical speed, which is something that Christian Watson really possesses. His ADOT is 20.5 yards. That is a monstrous number. So he's getting targeted down the field, not just on the sideline, but down the middle of the field, which are the most valuable targets in the NFL. So I absolutely love Christian Watson to sail over this number of 52.5 receiving yards.
Sail over just like a Russell Wilson pass, sailing over all of his wide receivers. AB, you think there's going to be a lot of incomplete passes today, which would then lead to what?
Yeah, a lot more sailing, and I'll be real quick. We'll just put it right here. Punts over 8.5 plus 100. I could see both of these offense just Gridlock on the interstate. Good luck. I don't like this game at all. Punts, play it.
I can't wait to get that tweet from the new viewer who goes, oh, they just gave out punts and turnovers and all this. And then they tweet again at night and go, oh, I cashed all of those. Interesting. All right. Counselor, your thoughts on Packers Broncos?
Yeah, so this is where the ladder comes in. I also on SportsLine have Christian Watson at the same number, and I believe the same price. I put it in, I think, a full 2 days after Proppy, and honestly, I didn't know he had the prop. So you all can be comfortable knowing that we both put it in there without consulting each other. But really like this play for all the reasons that Proppy said. And again, I laddered this up to 80 plus. This guy is a long play threat, and he honestly should have had like 200 yards last game if Jordan Love wasn't so terrible. So here we are, Christian Watson 80 plus. I think that's in play, alternate receiving yards. Just so you know, I paired that with Marquise Brown 80 plus, which I'm, by the way, more confident in the Christian Watson part of that. But long story short, it paid, I believe, 16-1. I put 10, 20 bucks on it just for fun. I'm not saying you should do that, but I think both of those guys, especially Christian Watson, could have some huge games, even if it's on lower volume.
You guys know I hate the term on this show, blind tail, because we want everybody to do their own work. However, if Proppy and Sia are both on the same play and they say to ladder it, it's about as close as I need to get. Proppy, go.
I believe Sia and I have aligned on 3 plays this season, and we're 3-0 as well.
Hashtag educate, entertain. Now, the last game this afternoon, and I had a ticket to it. A friend of mine said, Coach, can you fly in? I said, no, I'm dedicated to the team. And I'm an idiot, apparently. So the Chargers traveling to Arrowhead Stadium to take on the first-place Kansas City Chiefs. They haven't lost since opening night. They're favored by 6.5. This number's continued to gone up all weekend and all week. See, I can't even think straight. Total is 48. 4:25 Eastern this afternoon. Proppy, let's start with you. You like this young kid that now Patrick Mahomes is looking at and trying to find this kid. Who am I talking about?
Coach, I don't like him. I love him. We're talking about Rashee Rice. Gave him out at 35.5 receiving yards. I believe the numbers ticked up to 38 or 39. I'm still comfortable playing it there personally. Rashee Rice is 3rd in yards per route run amongst all players who qualify as a rookie. That is super, super impressive stuff. His role is only going to grow in this offense, coming off of 50% route participation. He's been as productive as he is, being a part-time player in the offense. It's playing less than or running less than 50% of the route. So I think it's about time. I think the coaching staff realizes what they have with Rashee Rice, especially when you look at how ineffective the other receivers, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, have all not been good. Then on top of that, Justin Watson is going to miss this game as well, who's the Chiefs' third leading receiver behind, obviously, Travis Kelce and the aforementioned Rashee Rice. So I love Rashee Rice. I think his role continues to grow. He continues to run more routes. It's a great matchup against the Chargers' pass defense, too. That is subpar as well.
I got a text this morning, as I do every single week, from you guys know my connection in Kansas City, and he is always on point. We know what he's broken for us here. Now, he said that internally, Patrick Mahomes is not happy with his own production, not happy with how he's been playing, not happy that he hasn't established a 1 and a 2 outside of Travis Kelce. So look for that to happen today, and that feeds right into Proppy's play. Now, EC is also on Justin Herbert, over 1.5 passing touchdowns that I showed down him on and gave him the juice. That won't happen today. But, counselors, we come to you. Big-time matchup in the AFC West. How do you see this one going?
This one's hard to actually handicap, in my opinion. I would lean towards the Chargers because it's a lot of points, even at 5.5. But I'll say this. I like the Rashee Rice play. The only reason I don't have this on SportsLine is because when I got to it, it had shot up to like that 38.5 range. So seeing that Proppy is on this at 35.5, I really like that one. I endorse it. And I will say I still like it at 38.5. I just didn't like personally. I didn't like losing the 3 yards. I should have gotten to that earlier. That's on me. But good news. Proppy picked me up. He's on the right play here. Absolutely love it.
And right now, the Chiefs, and it was part of a package, AB, that I saw Patrick Mahomes. He says it always comes down to one possession with us and the Chargers. Well, it comes down to one possession with every team, apparently, because they cannot cover. At this number, it just feels like they're baiting you into the Chiefs.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. Look, Patrick Mahomes may or may not even know this stat, but he's spot on. Okay, this is the 6th time, all right, that we have seen Mahomes and Justin Herbert against each other. All right, this will be the 6th. Of the 5, all right, every single one of them has been decided by 6 points. All right, all 5. 4 of the 5 featured a lead change in the last minute of the game. That's how tight that these have been. And look, if you don't learn history, you are doomed to repeat it. So use history in playing your bets. In the 5 matchups between these two quarterbacks, they have thrown 25 touchdown passes total.
And that, ladies
Can
and
I say
gentlemen,
something, Coach?
of
Can
course.
everybody stand up at home and just clap for AB? He starts with the bozo comment and the Amazon package thing, and then drops Chick-fil-A nuggets pretty much on every game that I haven't heard this entire week, by the way, and I listen to a lot of content. I'm just saying, like, literally, I hope some people are standing up and clapping. Like, this is unbelievable information.
We kind of gave a big come to Jesus on who really wanted to step up in this crew and who wanted to stand on the sidelines. Clearly, AB wants to be a part of everything. It's called preparation. It's called putting in the work. That's what it's called. And now you need to go home and do it for yourself. But well said by the counselor. So grab your paper, grab your pencil. Here is the late recap screen. And as we leave that up there for a second, I'm going to go around to my guys. What's the number one most important thing we're looking forward to today? The information matters. Use it for today or into the future. Counselor, if you don't mind, please start us off.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing which of these sort of, I don't want to say middling teams, but below the top tier teams, which of these step up? So, for example, the Detroit Lions, are they an actual contender among the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC? And then you look on the other side with the Baltimore Ravens, like, we're not exactly sure what this Baltimore Ravens team is. I love that game, but I think there's a lot of teams in the next 2 weeks that are going to separate themselves. Listen, injuries a lot of times separate teams as well, and that's just bad luck. But a lot of these teams are going to separate themselves in terms of, hey, they might sneak into the playoffs, but they really have no shot, to, hey, this is a team that actually has a shot at winning the Super Bowl. And I'm really looking forward to the next couple of weeks to flush that out.
And usually when you get to week 7, 8, and 9, to your point, that's when we start doing it. So today we'll start that. Well said. Proppy, talk to me.
Yeah, I think Sia hit the nail on the head. I'm really looking forward to the Detroit and Baltimore game. AB mentioned it too. This is just a matchup where we're going to find out which one of these teams is legit. So yeah, looking forward to that. Then I'm particularly looking forward to our primetime stream tonight, Coach, because we know that my Philadelphia Eagles are playing. I can smell a showdown from here. I'll have plenty of Eagles props. I don't think I've missed an Eagles prop this season, oh, by the way, and I am just all sorts of fired up, fellas.
Quite the tease 6 hours in advance. AB, bring us home.
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers. All right, we saw a really nice hot start, okay? Since then, no bueno. All right, they have the 28th ranked offense in the NFL. In the last 3 games, Jordan Love has thrown 2 TD passes and 6 interceptions. It has been a bad showing weeks in a row here for Green Bay. So they need offense in the worst way. So we'll see if they can do that today.
I hope the takeaway that you all took away from my 3 experts, crew members, whatever you want to call them, is this: that you have to dig deeper into games. You've got to look at how teams are playing against certain kinds of teams. This is a very, very difficult thing to do. If everybody could do it, everybody would do it. But you got to put in the work, and you got to listen to the experts. They're not always going to hit, but it'll lead you in the right direction. Do not forget tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, prime time, early edge. And as you can see, Proppy's fired up. I'm fired up. AB, Counselor, we'll all be there tonight because it's the Dolphins and the Eagles, a battle of first-place teams, and damn it, we are here for it. But in the meantime, pay it forward. Be kind to one another. Tell all your friends to join us tonight. There are 10 games between now and then that we got to sink our teeth into. So with all that being said, there's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire group, Love Ball, Proppy, Counselor, my man AB, bringing it strong as always, doing double duty on a Sunday afternoon. I am simply the coach, trying to keep this train on said track. We grind for you so we can win with you. See you tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the Early Edge. Good luck.